Hi folks, it's Bugout Bill with Bugout Bungalows. I thought I'd share with you the first Bugout Bungalow I ever built. It was a 10 by 10 and I built it 40 years ago. So first, what is a Bugout Bungalow? A Bugout Bungalow is a structure comprised of 8 triangles for the roof and 8 trapezoid panels for the walls. Now the first one I ever built, it was just about the roof. It's kind of a proof of concept. So these pictures I'm going to show you are from 1985. So I think I was 28 or so at the time. And so that's 40 years ago. It was the first one I ever did. And I put it on hold for a while. And then about 16 years ago or so, I started building them again. So anyway, this is 5 acres with a Bugout Bungalow and another cabin and stuff on it. I'm going to show you a series of pictures. So I'll be looking at them and then give you images without me having to hold up the pictures. So here's the first one. So this first picture, a couple of buddies of mine are in there. You can see I'm perched on a hill. That was a pretty steep hill. I had a year-round creek at the bottom of the property, which is nice, and there's a view, a canyon, but still a fairly steep piece of property. And that door is a 9-foot wide door, single pane, real heavy. It's like from the 1950s. So I was doing construction back then, and I'd scrounge anything for my cabin or for my house. I like reusing old stuff and whatnot. Again, it was 40 years ago, so that sliding glass door was probably from the 50s or something like that. It wasn't dual pane, super heavy, I remember, but it made a whole wall of glass in that cabin, which was pretty cool. So anyway, that's a 10 by 10 cabin. It's 10 foot tall at the corners. So that allowed me to put a loft at approximately 7 foot. And we had actually, I don't think it was a loft, it was a second story. We just cut a hole to climb up through a ladder. So we had a little extra square footage. May have been a loft. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And it probably started a loft and I enclosed it some more. So anyway, that gives you an idea of what the building looks like. It's a panelized system on those the roofing panels on this one. A little more conventional frame on the walls. Now here's a picture. There's another buddy of mine. He's up inside the roof. So the roof was framed with like 1x4 rafters and then a 1x6 for the valleys. And there are 8 separate panels, and it worked. It was time consuming, and the plywood didn't sit real good on those 1x6 valleys, but it did. I mean, it all went together, and I was able to get it up there, but building that way wasn't a great advantage. It was nice to be able to build a roof down when I was living in the city and bring it up to my property. It all worked, and it had a great vibe and everything, but it wasn't real practical, and that's why I put it on that idea on hold. The loft you see my buddy working off of, that's not the loft, that's a temporary loft. So there's a, call it a band, actually not a band joist, so there's some headers going around those posts, 10 by 10. So the way I used to build, I'd throw up some posts, throw some, let's say a beam across them, and then put the roof on, and then scrounged all the other, doors, windows, siding, whatever. But got a roof over my head right away. So anyway, I think that kind of explains how this thing was built. And then I'll go on, let's see what. So the next picture, what I've done is had a D4 come out and scratch me out a pad for more of a cabin. He punched a little road down to the creek, 4-wheel drive trail. So that's a 20 by 20, the beginnings of a 20 by 20 cabin. And then you can see the Bugout Bungalow. There's a big old glass door on the front, another salvage item. It's probably could be from the 1800s for all I know, for some of the stuff I helped remodel or I remodeled it on my own. Where that ladder is, if you look above it, there's a shelf where you could set a 5-gallon Costco container or any type of thing you put 5 gallons of water in, a 5-gallon bucket, and then siphon it down for a shower. So that shows you the shower right there to the right. So it was a post and girder type foundation, and I think we'll go on to the next picture. You can see I've started enclosing the cabin, and the ridge there, if you can see in the post in the center of the gables, are cedar posts. I used to go out in the woods. I like to build out a cedar post. They're easy to peel and they look cool and rot resistant. So I built a few buildings using cedar poles. I used to get a wood cutting permit, and I'd go out in the woods, the national forest, and I just want to buck up the wood. I'd leave it full length and bring it home and build stuff with it. And so, yeah, it'd get cold in the cabin with that kind of roof being open like that. And we had, by that time, or shortly thereafter, moved. Yeah, we had been living there for a while. And I remember getting so cold that I went up to make coffee one morning, and the old coffee grinds from the day before were frozen in the coffee pot. So, plus we had an outhouse at the time. It was pretty cool though. I liked it. So this next picture, so eventually this is what I framed up. You can see the 20 by 20 cabin. It has a loft. That was a loft up in there. To the side of it, you can see the Bugout Bungalow and how they line up. It's parallel and square to the two buildings. I actually had to move the original Bugout Bungalow to make it align with the cabin. So for a while we slept in the loft in the big house, but then when I added, so we first got into the 20 by 20 cabin, had a loft, that was our bedroom, but then I added on I moved it, smaller Bugout Bungalow in order to join it to the house. At that time my wife was pregnant, and you know, the loft and everything, so it was a lot more convenient to have them two joined, and you know, the extra room. Now the thing is, I sold this place shortly after these pictures. Again, my wife was pregnant, and you know, it was time to move on. So here's a picture of the back side of the house, and that's before I had moved the original Bugout Bungalow. You can see they're at an angle to each other. So those windows up in gables are sliding glass doors from salvage. Everything was salvaged, just about everything. So anyway, that's the back side. I'll show another one after the back side was further along. So here, this next picture, you can see I put up lattice work and shade screen, and looks like the Bugout Bungalow has been moved, so the two align. So anyway, I'll show you some pictures of me moving the Bugout Bungalow. So here's one. Here I am jacking it up, getting it ready to move. And what I had to, so this next picture, what I had to do was slowly jack it up, because there are two different levels. The original Bugout Bungalow was lower than the new cabin, so I had to jack it up, and I just lifted one side after the other. So this next picture, you can see where I've got it actually moved. I took the door out so it wouldn't get broke, the sliding glass door. So you can see how all the dunnage under there, or cribbing, that's holding up the building. And eventually, if I remember right, I put a full perimeter foundation. I got all the permits for it and did all that, jumped through the hoops. Originally it was on a barn permit, and then I jumped through the hoops and eventually sold it and bought another place. So on that property, the next picture is I had a year-round creek, and here's a redwood deck. I built a 10 by 10 redwood deck that was going down to the creek. And here's one more picture. I just thought it was a cool picture. So anyway, that's the first Bugout Bungalow I built, and that was on 5 acres. That's that I had up above up in the mountains, hills above Sacramento, up Highway 80, just east of Colfax. So anyway, if you give me a thumbs up, maybe I'll tell you about my Bigfoot experience. Anyway, till later.